tonight. Liverpool go in again, and of course life has not been that great for Liverpool of late, certainly in the Premier League. Jurgen Klopp takes charge of Liverpool for the 400th occasion in tonight's Champions League game against Napoli, who take a bit of beating these days, both in their own division over in Italy and of course in the Champions League. So pre-match, he gave a 6-minute answer vowing to revive the fortunes of the football club. We pruned it down. This is our version of what Jurgen said on the current situation at Liverpool.
In a moment, it's not 100% fair to judge the team, because that means the squad, obviously, because we never had them available. With the amount of games you have, you usually would make changes. We can't do that. Even if it's unfair, it's fine, because that's normal. That's our life, and you're absolutely right to ask these kind of questions. But we have to answer that probably later on. But we are all out there to be judged. It's completely fine. Manager, players, that's how life is, and in professional football is. So if you can judge single moments and say, how can we do that? What I did after game, the second goal, oh my God, I still woke up at night because of the goal. But anyhow, there's a reason why it happened. So is it the right reason? No. But you can see in the situations the boys want to win the game. That's actually the message from this situation, instead of defending the draw in this moment. And we expect more from ourselves. The boys expect more. I expect more from them. But it's just avoiding the mistakes, obviously, and keeping the good stuff in, and then you get there step by step. This is, now we can say it, obviously it was never a quick fix, and now it looks like it's not a quick fix. Now it's proven. But we will not stop fighting. So it's not a question about and I didn't read anything, but it probably will be, everything will be judged about me now as well, which is absolutely fine. But when people look at me, then they will say he looks tired or whatever. That's normal as well. I'm not. I cannot give that excuse. So much for me and stuff. It's not. So my job is not only being here in the moment when the sun is shining and somebody gives us a trophy. My job is as well here to be there when we have to go to a really rough period. So, and I will do that with all I have, or if possible, even more, 100%.
So that was Jurgen Klopp yesterday. It's not going to be a quick fix. Did we just listen to a defiant Jurgen Klopp or an under pressure Jurgen Klopp?
Honestly, I don't know what we listened to, because I can't make head nor tail of what he actually said. I realise that, of course, the religion of Klopp means that if you actually criticise Klopp, then people are going to pile on and talk about this potential hatred that apparently you or I have for Jurgen Klopp, which is, of course, absolute nonsense, because I think he's one of the elite managers of his generation. I think he's an outstanding manager, but I think he's been negligent. I think he has not looked at the bigger picture. One of the great things about elite managers is they know when to revitalise, to recalibrate, to re-energise, to change up. He hasn't done it. Now, you can make the argument that they've lost some players, and Mane was a situation, but Graham Souness made an interesting point yesterday. It's one I repeatedly make, and it's nice to hear a football manager, albeit a previous one, talking about the amount of juice that top managers have. Because I always make this argument. Are you sitting there seriously saying to me that Klopp hasn't got the leverage to go to the Liverpool board and say, give me some more money for players? Because I think he has. And Graham made the point yesterday that absolutely, can you imagine that Jurgen Klopp hasn't got the juice to go to the board and say, I need more support? So I think they're all in this. None of us saw it. You know, again, referring to Souness, but Graham talks about this ageing midfield. I didn't hear him say that at the beginning of the season. There was an expectation Liverpool were going to rival Man City. Yeah. And Liverpool were going to push them, and the Charity Shield did nothing to diminish that argument. So all of a sudden, all these people can see their vision after the vision hasn't arrived, because now they're all going, aha, look at the midfield. But none of you said that at the beginning of the season. But the guy that should have said it, and the guy that should know it, is Jurgen Klopp. Because part of his job is not to make Liverpool burn brightly and blaze away and then fade away. His job is to keep them at that standard for as long as he possibly can. And I wonder, and I was trying to ask Graham again yesterday about this style of play, because whilst Man City they're quite economical in how they use their players, because they're so good at retaining the ball, where Liverpool are a very different side, very dynamic, which means that you're going to burn through certain players much quicker because of the nature of the style that you play. And surely, you know, the Messiah Klopp must know this. I will back him, absolutely back him to fix it, because he has the tools to fix it. I don't think he's tired. I'm not interested if he's tired. What is he tired from? Carrying his Brinks bag of wages back and forth. That's why you get paid £10 million a year to be an elite manager. Now, be one. You've got to fix this problem. If you think there's enough of an excuse, and Liverpool fans will probably be getting quite irritated by this little soliloquy, but if you think you've got an excuse with the current squad to take 3 points out of Fulham, Brighton, Leeds, Forest and Everton, then that's not an excuse. I don't, you beat Man City. I expect you to have trouble with Tottenham. I expect you to have trouble with Arsenal. I expect you to have trouble with Chelsea. But I don't expect you, with this squad of players, or whatever malaise you've currently got, to have trouble against Fulham, Brighton, Forest, Leeds and Everton.
No, sure. For absolute sure. But Simon, with fewer opponents for City, is a diminished Liverpool ultimately a bad thing for the Premier League?
Well, they're not top of the league currently, are they? Arsenal are.
True.
So with that in mind, that's not an argument we can run yet. Does it diminish our product? Is our league still ridiculously competitive? Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Is it still something that just engages audiences around the world because of the whole nature of English football, from the relegation battles through to the teams that are in the Premier League, to the personalities that are there, to the style of football, to the media that we produce? All of this produces a unique product. Now, we don't want a monopoly. Nobody wants to see one side winning it because it takes away a slight edge. But the manner in which Man City are winning these leagues at times still comes with great intrigue and jeopardy because they're getting pushed to the line by Liverpool over the last couple of years.
Well, that's right. And if it's not Man City who go on to win the league in either this season or next or whatever, if it's not that, we're looking elsewhere because it might not necessarily be Liverpool now. Because Arsenal are in the mix. You just said a moment ago, under Conte, do you think they can win the Premier League?
Not for a couple of years.
Can.
Not for a couple of years, Tottenham. They're a force that's coming. Not now, and not in the here and now. They'll be there in the next couple of years, there and thereabouts. For those that want to detract from the Premier League, there's a viability in an argument saying one team winning the league 5 out of 6 is a detraction. It isn't. It's still an elite league. It's still ultra competitive. There's so many different facets to it in terms of the teams that are in there, the component parts, the intrigue. Other leagues aren't watching, much I don't like it, other leagues aren't watching Saudi businesses coming in and buying up Newcastle and elevating them. Other leagues aren't having the same sort of situation where you've got huge, historically great football clubs like Aston Villa that have just employed a legend as a player, as a manager, and out he goes, and in comes the next challenge. You don't have that dynamic in other leagues in quite the same way we have it here. I do think...
This is his biggest task, Klopp, isn't it? So I would think since becoming a manager, this is his biggest task, to get them over this, not just a blip, but what is a serious malaise.
But they had a blip before. They had a blip in the 2021 season where they were dreadful for a period of time.
There were excuses for that.
Well, there's always excuses for something.
Yeah.
They can have excuses now.
Here, you just heard him. It's down to us and it's down to the players.
Well, that's easy because the best way to disarm an argument is to agree with an argument. I learnt precisely nothing from what Klopp said. What he talked was in a series of circular arguments about you can ask me if I'm tired, I'm not, and moves on. But he doesn't actually address the reasons. How have you got to this position? Yeah. Do you not see the malaise that you've got in your team, which seems to be that midfield-wise you're not at it, which then means your defence isn't at it, and isn't that incumbent upon you? What was your recruitment thinking? No one will ask those questions because he won't like those questions.
But in short, you think he fixes it?
I think he fixes it, yeah. But I think they're going to have a difficult season. I think they'll probably do okay in Europe this year, and he might get away with the problems that he's got by masking it with a European campaign that's successful.
Well, what would help him tonight would be if on his 400th occasion, as a man who leads Liverpool into these football matches, both here and in Europe, that he might just get a win against the boys who've run away with it, Napoli. We shall see. 400 up for Klopp.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.